do not understand the locks thing. Let me see. Little Hope game, locks explained. What's the deal with the locked traits? Okay, locked traits are a game mechanic in the second installment, Little Hope. They are ordinary traits, except they are obtained through single decisions and cannot go away naturally by increasing other traits to replace them. All protagonists start with one locked trait and can gain 5 more of them in a single playthrough. Each locked trait a character has decreases the amount of time they have to complete QuickTime events and increases the speed of Keep Calm segments on Challenger or Lethal difficulty. Each protagonist except Andrew will have a single chance to break their locked traits toward the end of the game. What? If any protagonist has any locked traits at the end of Full Circle, or if Mary is executed, they will be killed by their demon. That's dumb. Before death, all the locked traits of the character are shown in the demon's eye. Normally, when a character gains a locked trait, they have some sort of negative reaction, which is associated with injuries to the counterparts from past timelines. Andrew is burning sensation and fever. Angela is coughing and burning sensation in the legs. John is chest pain and coughing up blood. Taylor choking, only if Tanya was burned. Daniel tinnitus, nosebleed, and piercing chest pain. In single player or movie night, protagonists who aren't under the player's control automatically make decisions that don't give them a locked trait. For example, Taylor will always cross the bridge first in theatrical cut of Lost. What? Okay, I don't know what that's about. Andrew's decisions determine his opinion on whether Mary is responsible for witch trials or whether she is not to blame. Angela's decisions determine whether she is selfish and derisive or understanding and compassionate. Daniel determines whether he doesn't interfere in the problems of others or escapes or tries to help the others in fights. So, for example, Daniel can break his locked traits in Ruined if he tells Andrew to go without him. Otherwise, he gets the locked trait Reckless. Which one was Ruined? The third chapter. You control Daniel and John. Okay, so wait, was that when like he was holding the door? Yeah, again, that one was weird because I told him, I was like, Andrew, I need your help, and I thought it was to hold the door shut, but it was like Andrew just stood there and was like, yeah, you got it, you go. John's decisions determine whether he's helpless and asks for help from others or is responsible and ready to help others. John can break his locked traits and heavy burden if he tells the others to leave him while the demon bangs on the door. But again, that he had like 4 locked traits, so this would have just given him like a 5th one. But that's how you get rid of that one. Taylor's decisions determine whether she acts on her own and neglects others, or acts as a team with others and empathizes. She can break her locked traits in Reflections if she tells Daniel/John to leave her. Otherwise, she gains the locked trait Fearful. Yeah. If Mary was executed while the locked traits are shown, her death is shown in the background. If the protagonist broke their locked traits, their default locked traits will be shown in the demon's eyes. Yeah, okay. This whole lock thing, I hate this. I hope, let's see, there's one Dark Anthology game I have not played yet, which is The Devil in Me. I am hoping they did not keep this system in Devil in Me. I really, really liked in the other 2 Dark Anthology games that I could go through the game, think logically, and do pretty well. I think House of Ashes, we had some deaths, but I had some people get out alive. Man of Medan, we had everybody live, but one guy had hinted that he died or went crazy post-credit scene. And now Little Hope, we had like tons of people die, but it was all in his head, so it doesn't matter. So, Devil May is the only one I haven't seen, so I'm not 100% sure. At the very least, this locked trait thing, it says that this is only in Little Hope up here at this little wiki thing. So, like, if I die because of a decision where it's like, oh, the game hints at you that left is bad, you should go right, and I don't take the hint and I go left, I'm like, dang it, I didn't pick up on that. I see it now, though. You know, I can get behind that. But when it's just like, oh, you didn't empathize earlier, so now you want to speak to the manager, so now you die. Like, what? That's stupid. That's stupid. So I don't like this whole lock trait system. The story overall was fun. The twist at the end was cool. As it said, like on that Reddit post, I hope that they don't do that twist on the other game that I haven't played yet. I don't want another "ooh, it was all in his head" type of thing, or it was all a dream. but it was cool. It was a cool thing. We got, let's see, saved Angela, saved Mary, saved Andrew. So I think Andrew, just for finishing the game, saved Angela. She, I guess I got rid of her locks. Cause not by like going out of my way to try to, but I guess I just did by fluke. So we saved Angela and then saved Mary, I guess by correctly deciding that it wasn't her fault, it was the preacher's fault or whatever. Um, since the game, even reading what we just read on the wiki, it seems like it is the correct choice, even if it was all in his head, to say that it was the preacher's fault, not Mary's. There are 3 possible endings for Andrew if you wanted to see them or have them told to you. This was the second one. It was Man of Medan, then Hope, then Ashes, and then Devil. Okay. So Man of Medan was chemicals, 2 was it's all in his head, 3 was vampires, and 4 I don't know yet. 3 possible endings for Andrew. Let's see. What is it? Little Hope game endings. Let's see. Ending 1. If Vince did not call the police and another protagonist is alive. Andrew and the others walk down the road where they are called by Vince. Vince apologizes, say that it was not Andrew's fault, and they both went through difficult times in the past. Before leaving, Vince will say that there is a diner with a working phone nearby and advise them to not come back again. When the group reaches the diner, they remain happy and calm. Andrew then apologizes for making the others go through this and states how it will haunt him forever, after which the others reassure him. It's revealed that John, Angela, Daniel, Taylor are hallucinations and that Andrew is actually an older Anthony as the bus driver who survived the fire. Then flashbacks are shown showing what it was like in reality. Anthony's conversations with the officer, walking up with the bus crash, dialogue at the pylon, passing through the bridge. In reality, the bridge was never collapsed at all. Meeting Vince in the bar, church, and factory. Anthony will then stand alone, finally letting go of the past. Meeting the curator. The player encounters the curator once more. He closes... Okay, so we saw that. Okay, so... what's the other ending? Oh God. Okay, ending 2. If Vince calls the police and another protagonist... Wait, is that the same thing? That's if Vince did not call the police. If Vince calls the police, Andrew and the others walk down the road. They meet by Vince. Vince say Andrew should have stayed away from here and he will not forget or forgive what he did. Andrew will say that he does not need problems and that they will not come back here. The officer arrives and arrests Andrew despite his protests. After it was revealed that everything was a hallucination, Andrew was Anthony / the bus driver all along, and he's taken away in a police car. So, okay, so I guess in this one, Vince remembers Andrew as the guy who started the fire. Whether that's true or not. Okay. Now, the thing is, when Anthony was outside the house when the fire started, and he looked in through the window, he did see the doll on the stove. So, assuming that everything else that happened in the house was just conjured by his imagination, like her locking the doors and stuff, then I think the fire was probably started by him making tea or whatever, and then the girl setting her doll down and it caught fire, and then everything else was just like conjured up in his imagination. If you're rude to Vince, he'll call the cops. Ending 3, if Vince did not call the police, only Andrew's alive and Andrew doesn't have a gun? Andrew sits alone at the doorstep of the burned house when Vince approaches him. Vince will say that both of them went through difficult times in the past and only ghosts remain in the town. Before leaving, Vince will tell Andrew there's a diner with a working phone and say, stay away from this place. After that, it's revealed, blah, blah, blah. He sits at the doorstep alone and places his palms on his face. Okay, ending 4. Vince didn't call the police, only Andrew's alive. Andrew has a gun and Mary was not executed. The same scene plays out as ending 3. Afterwards, Andrew aims the gun at his temple. Megan then appears behind Andrew and stops him from committing suicide. After it was revealed that Andrew was the bus driver, and he sits at the doorstep as Megan comforts him. Ending 5. If Vince didn't call the police, Andrew has the gun and has at least a bullet. Mary was executed. The same scene plays out as if ending 3 has happened. Afterwards, Andrew aims the gun at his head. Megan then appears behind Andrew and screams at him, causing him to shoot himself. After it was revealed that he was the bus driver and his corpse is shown laying at the doorstep. So Megan jump scares him into killing himself, if he wasn't going to already. Ending 6, Vince did not call the police. Andrew has the gun and no bullets, and Mary was executed. Same ending as 4 or 5. However, when Andrew pulls the trigger, nothing happens. After it was revealed that Andrew / Anthony was the bus driver, he sits on the doorstep with palms on face. Last one, if Vince called the police and only Andrew is alive. Andrew sits alone at the doorstep of the burned house when Vince approaches them. Andrew will tell Vince to leave him alone. Vince will angrily say that Andrew should have stayed away from here and that he won't forget or forgive what he did. The police arrives and Vince calls Andrew the killer. He denies this and says the demons are the killers, but the officer doesn't understand this. Thinking that Andrew is confused, the officer arrests him. After it's revealed that he was the bus driver and is taken away in the police car. Wow. Let's see. When you're with the curator, if all pro tags survive, the curator will clap and congratulate the player for saving all their single charges and helping them find their way through the guilt and horror. If someone was killed, he will say the problem with demons will haunt one if they don't lay to rest. If one pro tag died, he'll say it's impressive the group almost survived. If 2 or 3 died, he'll say it's not a bad effort and some found redemption, some didn't, all of which are the player's fault. If Andrew's the only survivor and all pro tags are dead, he will say that it's not a very happy ending, or is it, depending on what makes the player happy. The curator will say the player eventually found the bus driver. If the bus driver's alive, he will say maybe he could put the past behind him. If he's dead, he'll say the player has lost him forever. The curator gets up from the desk at the exit. He will inform the player that they will meet again in the South Pacific if the player doesn't have save files in Man of Medan, the Arabian Desert, or somewhere else, and then leaves the repository. Yo, the game checked my Steam to see if I had a Man of Medan save file. And because I did, it skipped this line and said the Arabian Desert. That's cool. That's pretty neat. That's pretty neat. Man of Madame. Secrets. Crude doll can be unlocked 49 other secrets. Dude, I think I found like one secret, which was the clock with the key. Okay. Wow. All right. Well, was the Dark Pictures anthology Little Hope. I've mentioned, I think I've just about covered it. The story itself was gripping. It was engaging. I enjoyed the playthrough of the story. The ending, they executed it pretty well. I hate the whole it was all in his head thing, but they executed it pretty well. I didn't see it coming. I suspected a few times. Like at the beginning, I was like, wait, is the bus empty? The camera never showed the back of the bus. But then we saw the people getting up on the road, and I'm like, oh, I guess it did have occupants. And I dismissed that theory, and it turned out it was true, and it was all in his head. But I will say that lock system feels very counterintuitive to a quick time event game. The lock system definitely felt like it was just thrown. It's you can't play the game logically with that lock thing, you know? Like, if you're gonna kill him, but don't just kill him just because of like a mood swing 3 hours ago or something like that. But that's it. That's our playthrough. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and we're off to the next one.